Hello and welcome to Keeping It Real. I'm David Grossman. Good to be back here on All Talk TV. Thursday, 2 o'clock, that's our regular time. We're having fun. Gives me something to look forward to every week, undoubtedly. And we do have a great show for you today. We have a couple of very talented people, real estate professionals. First up, we have Stephen Shub. You may have seen his name around. He's got benches everywhere. Well, I don't know if his name's actually on the bench, but you probably recognize the website address if you live in the city of Toronto, homelegalcosts.com. You see them everywhere. He's really turned the heat up on the marketing, and he's got 8 offices and over 30 employees around the city of Toronto, and he can service you and your clients in over 15 languages. He doesn't speak them all himself, but he's got the staff to do it. Also, on today's show, we have Patrick Egan. Patrick is also known as the Sultan of Store. You heard it right, the Sultan of Store. Patrick is a real estate professional with Colliers, and his specialty is self-storage. I must admit, when I first spoke to Patrick in the summer, I didn't know about this phenomenon with self-storage, how this market was taking off and what a great investment and opportunity it is. So we're delighted to have Patrick with us today as well to speak about that. But first, let's have a few words with Stephen. Stephen, thanks very much for coming to the studio.
Dave, thanks for inviting me.
Appreciate it very much. So your specialty is real estate.
Not just real estate, residential real estate.
Residential real estate.
Yeah, we don't do any corporate commercial, we don't do any family law, no litigation, no immigration, strictly residential real estate. People buying, selling, and refinancing residential properties.
Why this niche?
Well, it probably has to do with my background because as a youngster growing up in Northern Ontario in Timmins, I had a bit of a passion for residential construction, got involved, and as well as in renovations. And when I was about 20, I became licensed as a realtor with a company called Mann & Martel. Residential real estate was always my bag. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so you actually had a career in real estate before you became a lawyer. That's unusual, I think.
Exactly. It was only about 45 years ago, so I hate to sort of reveal something about my age.
Only 45 years. Well, you don't look that much older than 45, actually. So you're not buying it. You're not buying it, are you?
Well, back in those days, actually, to become licensed as a realtor, it was a 2-day course down on Wellesley Street.
Right, those were the days.
Exactly.
Those were the days. Well, that's why I became a mortgage broker, because it was only a 1-week course. Now realtors, they go for months on end. And these associations, they charge them a fortune.
For sure.
For sure. Anyway, so let's talk about some of the services that you offer, because they are very unique. First of all, as I mentioned earlier, you have over 8 offices, so people pretty much anywhere in the city should be able to find a location that's somewhat close to their home, which is important.
That's part of the idea is to be a stone's throw from every realtor in town and every prospective client. So again, we're very narrow in our boutique service, and we have no voicemails, we have no answering service, we just have live personal service to 11 p.m. 7 days. And very often I tell clients and realtors that even if I'm not the lawyer involved in the deal, they just want a second opinion, don't be afraid to give me a call. I'm not sending a little bill for that. The idea is we develop a relationship, and perhaps one day down the road we do a deal together.
Well, that's very good. Well, that's the right way to do things. They say in business you have to help other people first before you can help yourself. So sounds like you have the right approach. So now you've given out your cell phone number. You've suggested we give your cell phone number to people, which is very unusual, because I know some law offices, you can call and it'll be days before you actually get through to a lawyer.
Right, and accessibility and availability is where it's at, because when you're working with people in the real estate industry, and if they're doing a deal on a weekend, if they're doing a deal in an evening, they can't reach their broker for some assistance or whatever, that's when I'm hoping they're going to call me.
Right. Okay. So accessibility and availability, and because that's when people really need you. Sometimes in an evening, especially if people are working. I mean, it's hard for them sometimes to take a day off to go to sign papers and do things. So if you guys are available at nights, that's a bonus.
Yeah, we have evening hours as well as Saturday hours in our main office.
Right. We were talking about builder purchases, and you were telling me how one of the things that people often overlook is when they're buying from a builder, they will often not have their lawyer review the fine print.
Well, part of the problem is that people are under the illusion that when they go into, for example, a high-rise condo site in the GTA, that they've heard about, oh, we have a 10-day cooling off period. So they right away feel sort of comfortable because they can sign an agreement and still, well, they have 10 days cooling off period. However, the problem is that very often they're sort of pressured because if they try to sort of make a change in anything, the salesperson from the builder is already warning them up front that we're probably not going to allow any changes. And if you don't take this unit and proceed with this unit, there's 3 other people lined up to buy the same unit. So even if people do get to a lawyer, very often the lawyer, that is within the 10 days, very often that lawyer will say, well, standard agreement. I mean, there's pages and pages and pages of fine print. We don't charge a fee for a builder's review. A client or the realtor can drop off the whole agreement at any one of our 8 offices. All the reviews are done in our main office at Yonge and Finch, and it usually takes a day or 2. And when we finish that review, we send out an email to the client. It's a 2-pager that goes to the builder, the builder's lawyer, and a copy to the realtor, if there's one involved, so that we basically focus on, in the fine print, the hidden extra costs. And if a client doesn't go to a lawyer who does that kind of review, then they're in for a pretty big shock sometimes when they go to do the closing.
Right, so there could be hidden costs, different things. Well, I know we bought a new construction home, and I was kind of shocked at some of the things that I had no idea we were in for.
Right, and that happens with regularity. The builders are getting more and more creative in that fine print.
Right, right. I want to ask you about condo purchases, because this is something that I know a lawyer will often need to get involved with up front in reviewing the status certificate. Do you do a lot of those, and do you often see areas of concern?
The problem with that sort of thing is that a buyer can see a great condo in a great location, but he has no insight into the financial healthiness of the condo corporation. So typically a realtor will inevitably have the offer conditional upon this condo status review. And the lawyer will be handed the condo status package, declaration, bylaws, rules, regulations, financial statements, budget, all of that sort of thing that consists of a package. And that lawyer will then review both the whole package and the agreement of purchase and sale, and bring to the attention, it's his duty, it's his obligation to bring to the attention of the client if there are any concerns. And what we do in our office is we have, once we finish the review, we do a conference call with both the client and the realtor, so we're all on the same page at the same time. So in case there's any issues, we can proceed to propose an amendment and or deal with a waiver.
Right, and do you see surprises from time to time with certain buildings?
With regularity.
Yeah.
It's the problem is sometimes realtors say, well, gee, we just did a deal on that floor or in a unit in the building and everything was okay. But the problem is the status package deals not just with the project, but also deals with the unit.
Oh, okay.
And so sometimes you can have things revealed and disclosed on the unit. There could be an issue. So you just can't assume because they've done a recent review of a condo status of one of the units in the building that everything's okay on the next apartment.
So what type of thing could be wrong with the unit, like maintenance arrears or maintenance issues with
been used as a grow house.
Oh, okay.
Okay, grow up. Believe it or not, in high-rise condos that can happen, or townhouse condos, anywhere it can happen. There could be special assessments that are pending or contemplated or already existing. There's any number of things. I have one right in front of me right now where it was on Bloorview, a fairly recent building that was constructed at Shepherd and Leslie, where the seller painted the balcony. The balcony is only 180 square feet.
Right.
And
You mean like
that's
the
a no-no.
the
That's
inside
against
on
the concrete slab. They
Right,
decided
okay.
to paint the concrete slab. Now, to remove that paint, there's estimates of $1,900. They have to sand that concrete slab.
So that was a violation.
A violation of the rules of the condo corporation. There's been situations
So
where
the owner
people-
would be responsible for that.
Exactly.
Right. So that would be a good thing to know going into it.
Yeah, sometimes people have put up interior walls to divide or subdivide rooms, to add more bedrooms.
Right.
There's any number of things that
And
can
what
happen.
would be wrong? What would be wrong with that?
Again, contrary to the rules of the
So
condo
there's certain
corporation.
rules about what you can do, even inside your unit.
Yeah, even things like hardwood floors or laminate floors. If
Right.
they don't put in the proper acoustical underlay,
Right.
then we've had cases where people had to rip up their floor.
Right.
Redo
That's
the floor.
very noisy, I guess, for the person underneath if you're walking around with your heels on and whatnot.
Exactly.
Right. Right. Got it. So there's a lot of things to look out for.
A lot of possible concerns, and
Right.
a person should really have the appropriate residential real estate lawyer who specializes.
Right. And it sounds like you definitely offer people the personal touch and the accessibility, which is quite rare. So if you need help with a residential real estate deal, buying, selling, refinancing, whatever it is, Stephen Shub is your guy. We put his phone number up on the screen there. We'll give it to you again. This is his cell phone number, 416-520-6120. Give him a call. 7 days to 11 p.m., almost as late as Pizza. I mean, there's not many places you can find people around 11 p.m. at night.
My wife won't let me watch television to 11 p.m. She just wants me to have fun doing real estate deals.
I'm sure of it. I'm definitely sure of that. We're going to be back in just a minute. We're going to talk with Patrick Egan, the Sultan of Store. Hang in there. You're watching Keeping It Real.